Hi, this is Bernie Gracie of AncestralHunt.com, and today we're going to focus in on how to spatially transcribe a cemetery. At AncestralHunt.com, we had three primary goals when it came to cemeteries. First and foremost, the ability to preserve the spatial relationships around different grave sites, because those are a key indicator of relatedness. Number two, we wanted to provide a set of tools and techniques for you to actually associate people that you know are somehow related because they share a grave site or a plot, yet there's no indication of how they're related. The third thing we wanted to do was to be able to provide an optimal workflow to actually, at as much speed as possible, have the ability to transcribe a cemetery in the field, and either for the same person capturing the information in the field, a day later, a week later, a month later, a year later, or somebody else around the world, having the ability to see the context that the person who was capturing the information for the field meant, and to accurately transcribe that cemetery and those spatial relationships with inside AncestralHunt.com. For today's example, we're going to transcribe a cemetery using a GPS-enabled camera. There are other alternatives to actually transcribe cemeteries with GPS data loggers and other tools, but we're going to focus in on the GPS camera to kind of show the power of optimizing the workflow for field data capture as well as transcription back at home. There's a couple rules you need to remember in geospatially transcribing a cemetery. The first is this rank order. Every cemetery has an address. A cemetery is composed of one or more plots. A plot has one or more stones, and each stone has one or more people associated with them. If you remember those set of rules, you'll be well upon your way in transcribing cemeteries using AncestralHunt.com. The other rule you need to keep in mind is as you're capturing information, you are capturing information not only around this stone, but you need to be able to send signals to the person who's actually going to do the transcription in the tool. They need to know when the cemetery has begun and ended. When has a plot boundary been identified, and when has it ended? When has a stone boundary been found, and when has it ended? And then all the people in between. To be able to do that within the field workflow, you just basically purchase the notebook from Staples, and you're going to see a certain set of keywords, which I'll describe now, that will aid you in transcribing a cemetery. The first, BC, which is Begin Cemetery. A good practice is to actually put the name and the address of the cemetery, if that is possible, though that can be captured back at home. The next, End Cemetery. Again, imitating that you're now all done, and that's signaling to the person who's transcribing these photos with these GPS coordinates embedded within them that their work is now done. BP, Begin Plot, thus indicating that you've now entered an area where there's a new plot where there's one or more stones associated with it. EP, End Plot, thus indicating that all the stones within the plot have been captured and you're now onto a new area. Each of these are signals that you will intersperse, and you'll actually take photographs of as you're transcribing a cemetery to be able to send those signals to the transcriber who's actually key entering it into AncestralHunt.com. So why don't we take our GPS camera? We're going to go to Pine Hill Cemetery in Southbury, Connecticut, and take a few cemetery shots, go through the workflow, and then in part 2, we will actually show you how to take those photos and transcribe them spatially into AncestralHunt.com. Stand at the entrance of Pine Hill Cemetery here in Southbury, Connecticut to begin the workflow of transcribing the cemetery. I start with that first signal, the BC signal, which is Begin Cemetery, to remind me or the other transcription person to know that this is the beginning of this job. I'm just going to take the GPS camera, capture the coordinates, and then take this picture to begin the process. Hi, we're at the beginning of a plot, and you can see this as an indicator because this plot is at least clearly demarcated with a series of plot markers in this quadrant. So I'm going to use this, I'm going to put the BP here as a signal to the future transcriptionist that we're at a plot boundary. And actually capture a picture of the plot marker as a reminder to that transcription person. And now that I'm done taking pictures of this plot, I'll actually take the last photograph to indicate that we're done with this plot at a different marker. It doesn't even matter, just add a marker with the end plot signal. I'm at another plot nearby. This is a plot that has no demarcation, but just through an analysis of the spatial orientation, that these four people are clearly related, and there's a master stone and with the surname Chase, and everyone either shares the surname Chase or isn't associated with the Chase. So I'll begin to take the plot, take the individual stones, and then show the end plot designator. You can see this is a very efficient way of capturing information within the cemetery. I'm just taking the pictures and sending the signals to the future transcriptionist on how to take the information off of these stones. Since this is the last stone, I'm going to actually put the end plot designator here in the last stone picture. To indicate that we're done with this plot. Hopefully that'll give you a sense of the workflow in the field, the ability to geo-capture imaging and providing signals back to the transcriber about what is the context of the stones within a plot. That's a key, very, very important piece of information, because when you indicate that you now have begun a plot and ending a plot, there is some degree of relatedness of all the individuals that are within that plot. So one of the things you'll see in our next video is not only how you can transcribe the individuals and maintain their spatial orientation through the GPS coordinates embedded within the photographs, but we can actually create linkages between the individuals inside AncestralHunt.com. This is Bernie Gracie of AncestralHunt.com. Thank you for watching.